فادي خبرنا عن الصيد. أنتوني مش فاضي، أنا عم بتصيد. طب خبرنا هيك كيف تستعملها. بشرفك عم بتصيد. طب قل لي قديش الغمق؟ أنتوني بترجيك خليني ركز على اللي عم بعمله. مع فادي ما في تسأل ولا سؤال، لأنه وقت الصيد ما بقى يقشع حدا. بصير في تونيل طويل عليه سمك على الأطراف، وبالآخر شايف أكبر سمكة وما بقى يقشع حدا. يعني منيح ما دفشني بالمي شي نهار. فاتفقنا انه نهار ما بنطلع بالبحر وما بنتصيد، بس بسأله كل الاسئله اللي عندي اياها وبخبركم شو هن معدات الصيد من الاول للاخر، كم سنه خبره، شو هن المعدات، قديش بيفرقوا المعدات، وكل التفاصيل مع فادي مش برا هون بالمارينا تنتعلم كيفيه الصيد بالبحر حد دبي ويمكن بالمحيط لانه هو بيطلع كمان على عمان.
Now that you seen me fishing with Anthony, because he's been nagging on me for a month, he wants to do an educational video. I agreed, but I said we'll do it on the boat because when I'm fishing, I'm only concentrating on catching fish. So I'm back here on the boat with Anthony to do an educational fishing program, if you want. We're gonna do live baiting, trolling. We're gonna do with artificial lures trolling. We're gonna do bottom fishing. We're gonna do jigging, and we're gonna do casting. So we'll talk about all these methods, and we'll talk about the equipment of the boat, and hopefully everyone will be a successful fisherman.
Tell me about the boat.
The boat. Okay, the most important thing about the boat, you have to have a boat that is economically fuel friendly. So I know my boat has 4 engines, it doesn't seem that way. But if you put extra engines and you have more speed and you can cruise at 50 miles per hour, that means you can cover a lot of distances, you can go much further than, having 2 engines, and that will increase your chances of catching fish. So yes, it's expensive. Having a boat with 4 400s is an expensive hobby, but definitely it makes a huge difference than someone having a small boat and fishing only near the coast. So this is number one. You need to have a boat that's capable and goes out very far, very far. You see a lot of boats with lots of rods because there's different types of fishing. As I was saying, there's some different gears, some for trolling, some for casting, some for jigging, some for bottom fishing. Even in trolling, there are different types of rods, and jigging, there's different types of rods. The most important thing about fishing is to go out prepared. If you're not prepared and you don't have your jigs ready or your live bait ready or whatever you're fishing for, and you have to do it on the boat, the fish are gone, because the fish will give you only, when you spot the fish, will give you only a couple of minutes to throw out the bait for them. So the most important thing is that everything has to be ready. So when you see the fish, you're ready to cast or throw your bait on it. So be prepared before you go out. The most essential thing on a boat for fishing would be probably your electronics. Electronics, you have your fish finder. Your fish finder is very important for locating fish, and your radar, which is up usually. This radar catches the birds. So wherever the birds are, the fish are. So it's important to have a good fish finder and a good radar for catching fish. This is your GPS and this is your radar. You can change this into a fish finder. Now you can see the bottom. If there's fish, it will show you in the blue. So the fish finder is one of the things I was talking about, is very important in fishing. You can find structures, you can find ledges on it, and you can actually see the fish, and you can fish right on top of them. The radar catches the birds. Okay, so you have a bird mode here, and it's very sensitive. When you're out in the sea, you can see the birds like small dots. If you find the birds, you usually find the fish. And this instrument here, this is the one I was telling you about. This is a tracking device from the Coast Guard. They know when you go out exactly where you are. If you have any emergency out there, you can push the red button here, and they know exactly where you are, and they come and get you. So this is a great thing to have on a boat. The other equipment that is, for me, very important is having 2 live bait wells. So when you catch the live bait, they're inside. And these downriggers, I cannot stress how important these are in Dubai. Dubai is not deep. So usually when you fish in oceans, people don't use downriggers because the ocean is like 3,000 feet deep. But Dubai, probably the deepest point is 60 meters. And these downriggers, they have a heavy ball, and they have a digital counter that tells you the depth you're in. So you drop your bait with this heavy ball on a clip, and it tells you the depth you want. Usually I fish with 3 rods if I'm live baiting, 4 rods if I'm using artificial lures. With live bait, I put one just over the bottom. So if you have 60 meters of depth, I put it at 55 meters right over the bottom. I put the other downrigger at halfway, 35, 40 feet. And I put a 3rd rod on the surface. That way I cover all depth. If the fish is close to the bottom or mid-water or on the surface, it has something to eat. With artificial lures, I do the same, but I mix and match between dead baits and lures. When I go for live bait, I use sabikis like these. These are very small sabikis for small goggle eye. You have different sizes of these. They come in different sizes. The bigger ones I use mostly for jesh. Jesh is a trevally species that they have here. It's actually a golden trevally. So we catch them, we put them in the live bait well here. And then we troll with rods like these for kingfish. These have different sizes. Some are long. This one's probably made for a barracuda. I would hook the barracuda in the front and these 3 treble hook on the back. It has a steel leader because kingfish have teeth. Kingfish and barracuda, actually, they have teeth. If you don't put a steel leader, it's gonna cut your line. So these come in different sizes. I rig them myself, but you can buy them ready-made. If the bait is big, you use a long one. If it's a smaller bait, you can use a shorter one with like only 3 hooks. So basically you rig it to the size of the bait. And you troll at a very slow speed. You troll at 2 miles per hour because if you troll faster, you'll kill the bait. You want the bait to be swimming freely and as natural as possible. If you're not fishing for fish that has teeth, then you can fish with these with live bait. For example, cobia, they don't have teeth. Amberjack, they don't have teeth. So you can get away with mono leader. You don't have to have seal leader, and you can single hook through the nose of the fish, same way you troll. So these are the live bait methods that I use here in Dubai. Now, if I see the fish and there's a lot of fish on the surface, I live bait because I know that the fish are there and I don't need to cover a long distance. And usually when you troll live bait, you troll only at 2 miles. So I know the fish is there. I keep circling in circles until I get a bite. If I don't see fish and I'm looking for fish and I want to troll, then I use artificial lures. I use rapalas like these. These you can troll them at 5 miles an hour, 6 miles an hour. And I mix them with dead baits. I can rig a dead ballahu with it because you can troll a dead bait at the same speed as an artificial bait. And I troll them until I get a catch. When I get a catch, I know there's fish there. Then I can switch to live bait in the same area. So these are the trolling methods I do. And it's the same way. I put them on the downriggers and 2 rods on the surface. So the second method of fishing I have would be casting. Casting actually is the most fun because you see the fish on the surface jumping, and usually there's a frenzy, a lot of fish with a lot of birds on top, and you cast your lure to them. Casting rods are different. They're a lot longer. The reels should be full of line so you can cast the farthest. You have swim baits that are weighted heavy. You can put a steel leader on them if you're casting for kingfish. If you're not casting for kingfish, you can just tie it on a normal mono. But these are weighted swim baits. You can use them, and you can use ones without a lip. They're called stick baits. They splash on the surface, and you just cast and retrieve fast, and you get a bite. It depends on the size of the fish. If you're casting small fish, you can cast swim baits this size. If you have bigger fish, like bigger kings, you can catch swim baits which are bigger, much bigger than that. So it's actually, the bait depends on the size of the fish. But all these casting rods are quite long. They're flexible on the tip, so when you flick it, it goes far. And that's it for casting. They're here because the fish are not that big. But if you come with me to Oman, Muscat, our casting gear is completely different. They're all Stellas with P8 on them and big poppers, and so it all depends on the size of the fish. Jigging, you have two types of rods. You have, these are called overhand rods. They're a little bit more for the experienced angler because you might tangle the line while you're using them. And you have also spinning rods. Spinning rods are a lot easier to use. The jigs also come in different sizes. Some of them are small, but they're made out of tungsten special lead, which makes it very heavy. It drops down very quickly. And these are probably made here for medium fish. You can catch shari on them, hamur, even kingfish, if you put a steel leader, cobia, anything. I mean, these catch a lot of fish. And then you can go lighter with smaller jigs like these for golden trevallies, or you can go for something much heavier for amberjacks. You can jig with bigger jigs. I don't use heavier than 150 to 200 grams here in Dubai. These jigs are great for amberjacks here in Dubai.
فادي هولي شو؟ boys toys؟
Only boys toys. You can never have enough fishing gear. بتضلك تخانق انت ومرتك كرامة، بتضلك تشتري اغراض وهيك، يعني شو بدك تعمل، بس انه هيدا 10% of what I have on the boat.
Let's have a quick overview.
Boxes. These swim baits here, different types of swim baits. These are rigs for kingfish. These are bigger swim baits, jigs, all types of jigs, all types of stick baits and
what do
jigs
colors
here.
means?
Colors, and honestly, fish, they don't see colors. I can't say fish see colors, but they see shades, different shades. So if it's a gloomy day, we use dark lures because they stand out more. If it's a sunny day, we use bright lures, bright color lures. بس هني they see shades. بس انه بين زهر واحمر واخضر ما بتصور. I think they're colorblind, they don't see.
What are your favorite things?
My favorite is natural lures. يعني lures that look like sardines, greenish, bluish, like that, like a small little sardine. You know, this is my favorite here in Dubai. I feel they bite more than the unnatural colors that like orange and red and stuff like that. But my favorite rapala is Dubai flag. بسموه علم Dubai, which is this one, red and white. Red and white is علم Dubai. This is my favorite trolling lure. It catches a lot of fish. I don't know why, but maybe the fish see like a red head, like maybe it's wounded or something, but they tend to bite on it. Hook sizes, there's many different hook sizes and different shapes. Some hooks are made for live bait. They're short shanked. يعني الشانك تبعهم قصيرة, short. These are live bait hooks usually. Other hooks are made for bottom fishing hooks. These are bottom fishing hooks. This is the last way of fishing actually I do, is bottom fishing. Bottom fishing is when you drop the bait to the bottom and you put a dead bait here, either a sardine and squid, and wait for a bite. These hooks are good because they have a bait holder in the back. I don't know if you can see it. There's two small shanks in the back of the hook. So when you put the piece of squid, it doesn't slide out, it stays on. These are very good, and they're offset. Offset meaning they're a little bit crooked, so they hook very well. Now there is two types of ways you do bottom fishing with dead bait. My favorite actually is with the sliding egg sinker. What this does is actually you put the bait on here, and then you drop your sinker. When the sinker hits the bottom, if there is very strong current, this line slides out. So this stays on the bottom, and this line slides out. So your bait stays on the bottom when there's a current. It does not lift up because this stays on the bottom and this is slack. So your bait stays on the bottom, which is it's called bottom fishing. You want your bait to stay on the bottom, and you catch, you get a strike. If there is no current, and the weight is not lifting off the bottom, you don't want to fish this way. There's another way where instead of the weight being loose on the top like this, the weight is on the bottom. This is the second way of bottom fishing. When there's no current at all, you put the weight down and 2 hooks at the top. What this does, it hits the bottom, there's no current, your bait stays at the bottom and you catch fish. If there is current, then this lifts off the bottom and it's not loose, so your bait goes up and then you don't catch fish. So this is only when there is no current, and this other way with the sliding exit is when there is current. And this type of fishing catches everything. I mean, you can catch cobia, hamur, all species, shari, snapper, everything that feeds on the bottom you can catch with this. But it's a messy business. I mean, you get dirty. Your hands get squiddy, you smell like sardine, you go back home, your wife doesn't want to see you, you go straight to the shower. You know, it's a messy business. Not a lot of people like to fish bottom fishing. The most important thing about boating, going fishing, is to be safe. I mean, I've had so many incidents out in the ocean. I've had a boat sink with me once. I've had running out of fuel, engines not starting because the batteries are not working. So safety is, I cannot stress how important it is. I mean, if you have a boat, you will have a problem. So life jackets, flares, all the safety equipment, smokers, everything you have to be all updated and working order. You have to have your mobile. Your mobile doesn't work all the time. If you're offshore, you have no reception. So you need a satellite phone. It's very important to have a satellite phone. Luckily in Dubai, we have a tracking device put on the boats. So also we have an emergency button. If you're out there, you can push it. The Coast Guard can come and find you wherever you are. But Anna, to me, I think the most important is the satellite phone, because you can call somebody at any time. Accidents can happen even if nothing goes wrong with the boat. I've had hooks in my hands, hooks in my legs. When you cast, sometimes if somebody is standing behind you, you can hook them. You have to be very careful, especially in casting. When you're removing a fish from the hook, the fish might squirm in your hands and you can get a hook in your hand. I mean, it's it could be dangerous, but if you're careful and you know what you're doing and you have experience, like I used to remove fish with my hands before, and I used to go to the hospital all the time to have hooks removed from my hand. Now I use pliers this long, so I don't get close to the fish, and I remove the fish with the pliers, So unfortunately, I had to learn the hard ways.
What's SSF?
SSF is seafood street food. It's in Motor City. It's an international affordable seafood restaurant. It's great for fishermen because the fishermen can bring their fish. We cook their fish that they catch there at 50 dirham per kilo. And it's international. I mean, you can go there, you can eat it Indian style, Thai style, Lebanese style, any style you want. Every single thing on the menu is there at an affordable price, I have to say. On my boat, there's a second station up there. You can drive the boat from the second station. The second station helps you in spotting fish. You're much higher up, so you can see a frenzy much further away. I use it more in the Fujairah side because mostly I use it for billfish when I catch sailfish and marlin. I have also outriggers there that I use in Fujairah, but I don't use the stuff in Dubai because we don't have billfish here in Dubai. But when the season starts in Fujairah, I trailer the boat to Fujairah. And I'm very happy with this boat, actually. This boat is Hayari, made in Abu Dhabi. Actually, I have 2 of them. I have one here and I have one in Muscat. It's the Hayari 44 Fisherman. It's quite efficient, quite dry, and great on fuel consumption. And very fast, very fast. Also, if you want to go to a good tackle shop and buy good tackle, where I buy my tackle usually is Fish On or Barracuda. I recommend these two places. They have very good stuff. You can look them on Google and find them. Preserving the fish on the boat, the best way to preserve the fish, of course, you have these hatches that you can store fish in. I fill them up with ice. I put salt water inside. The salt water keeps the fish fresh, and then I put my fish inside. Some fish it's better if you bleed, but not all fish. And if you catch tuna, tuna is very good to, you have to bleed tuna because it has a lot of blood in it. But other fish, it's not a necessity to bleed them. But salt water with ice is the best way to preserve fish in your cold boxes. When the fish comes to the boat, if it's a big fish, we usually use a gaff, okay? We have different size of gaffers. This is a small one. We have bigger ones for bigger fish. The size of the hook is usually determines which gaff you use according to the size of the fish. The bigger the fish is, the bigger the gaff you use. Now, if it's a small fish and you don't want to gaff it, you can use a net like this. These nets are great for pulling up hamurs, pulling up shari, kofar, snappers. Usually we don't gaff these fish, we use a net. The most important thing about fishing is checking your tackle all the time. You can't keep your rod in a garage for a year in the heat and then take it and go fishing on it, because that's the time you're going to catch the biggest fish and your line is going to cut it and you're going to lose it. So your terminal tackle, the most important thing about fishing is your line and your hook. This is what is actually attached to the fish. Your line has to be fresh and good, not old and has a lot of nicks in it, because any nick in a line, the fish will cut the line off. So your hook has to be sharp. It can't be old and rusted because you will not hook the fish, it will come off. So these little small details that people don't think of, that's why most people say, oh, I had a big fish and I lost it, are very important. Checking your line, checking your hooks if they're sharp enough, and changing them yearly. I mean, every year I change my lines, every single year. So these are very important. And last but not least, please take care of this ocean. This ocean is fragile. We need to take care of it. Don't throw garbage in the sea. If you see garbage, pick it up. If you see a turtle stuck in a net, try to release the turtle. Because, I mean, if you want your kids to fish the next generation and the generation after that, we all have to take care.